All right, all right. What's happening? Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. Let's do a college basketball video here. I'm coming to you early Friday night on January the 3rd. Before this video is over, I maybe might take a peek at some lines for tomorrow. But basically, I wrote a column. It's just basically news, notes, and injuries. It's very easy to lose track of college hoops during the bowl season. When you've also got the NFL. For me, there's a lot of UFC stuff been going on in December, and NBA, et cetera, et cetera. So it's easy to lose track. And there's a lot of news out there, a lot of injuries, et cetera. So let's get you caught up on some stuff like that. So you may remember last year, or even 2 years ago, Harvard's Seth Towns was the Ivy League Player of the Year. He averaged 16 points, 5.7 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and made 44.1% of his threes. He missed all of last year with a knee injury, and just before Christmas on December 23rd, he decided, he hadn't played yet this year, and he decided to undergo season-ending knee surgery again. So super unfortunate for Tommy Amaker and his staff. And you'll remember Makai Mason from Yale, who dropped 31 on Baylor in the tournament, like in 16, and Yale won. And then they put a big time scare into Duke in the round of 32. And then he had like a foot injury the next 2 years, and then he had to transfer. So the Ivy League has these archaic rules that you can't redshirt, like under no circumstances. So just the other day, Seth Towns entered the transfer portal because he can't play at an Ivy League school again, which is insane. He's been out hurt. He hasn't played. He hasn't stepped on the court last season, and now after having surgery this season. So Amaker has to lose the Ivy League Player of the Year 2 seasons ago just because of this archaic rule. I don't know why with the Makai Mason situation, where he ironically had to transfer from Yale to Baylor, the team that he had dropped 30 plus on to beat a few years before. And that sucked for Yale, and this sucks for Harvard. And there will be suitors galore for Mr. Towns. And I think he entered the transfer portal either yesterday or the day before. So, and he won't have to sit out a year, surely. I wouldn't think. I mean, he sat out last year, he's sitting out this year. Now, their other best player, Bryce Aiken, has missed back-to-back games with a foot injury. Still talking Harvard here. And he is questionable for tomorrow's home game versus UC Irvine. But without Aiken and Towns, they won 71-63 at Cal. Mark Fox will get that thing turned around, but they're still awful at Cal right now. And they won 84-81 in overtime at a pretty good San Francisco team. And by the way, I went 2-0 last night. I took St. Mary's, and St. Mary's is hot. I took them -3 at San Fran last night, and they won by 9 or 10, I think. What was my other winner last night? I went at 4-0 in hoops. I had the Clippers in NBA, the Heat, and what was my other college game last night? Oh, Stanford. Yeah, faded Cal. They're not very good. I love Mark Fox. Outstanding coach. X's and O's guy. Okay, so also over the holidays, horrible news for Tennessee basketball. Lamonte Turner, season-ending shoulder surgery. 9 games this year for the Vols, averaged 12.3 points, 7.1 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 1.8 steals per game. He was a key piece in that Sweet 16 run last year, where I thought they got hosed by some bad calls in that Purdue game. And that white boy got hot for Purdue in that second half. Man, did he get hot. So Turner apparently has been dealing with this shoulder issue for years. And he's just now addressing it. That's what's been reported out of Knoxville. He averaged 11 points, 3.8 assists, 1.3 steals per game last year. Okay, the big guy for Utah State, the 7 foot center, Nemias Queta, got re-injured against the Gators, but they think he's going to come back pretty soon. In fact, he's questionable. He did not play against UNLV the other night, and they got smoked by UNLV, which hurts my Gators' strength of schedule. Um, but he's going to be back soon, maybe as early as tomorrow, when they host undefeated San Diego State. All right, the Gators host Alabama, and Nate Oates, unfortunately for him, has got some injuries he's been dealing with this year, but his team is playing some pretty good ball right now. In fact, they've covered 6 straight, and they're 5-1 straight up in that 6-0 ATS run, and their only loss was 73-71 at Penn State as an 11-point road underdog. And if you've not been paying attention to hoops this year, Penn State is legit this year. I know Penn State's been awful for. It's still Chambers that's there. Oh wait, hold on. Mixing him up with the guy that was at Boston College. Let me check my stuff. I better check my stuff. Pat Chambers, right? Yeah, Pat Chambers. Yeah, they have not been to the tournament since 11. Those boys are going to the tournament this year. Lamar Stevens, the big guy Mike Watkins, who I like a lot. They had a nice NIT run last. Did they win that? They might have even won the NIT last year. Nobody ever remembers who wins the NIT. And for Florida, Scotty Lewis is questionable, or at least he was when I wrote this article. I don't want to check it during the video, but Scotty Lewis got concussed against. He missed the Long Beach State game. But just check my Twitter if you want. I'll have an update on that on my Twitter. All right, here are the best ATS teams in the country, and then I'm gonna give you the teams to look to fade. And look, when you're struggling in college hoops, there's nothing better than finding a team to go against. But here's the teams, and yeah, I've backed Yale multiple times. I backed them +7 at North Carolina. Was that last Saturday? They lost by 3. Winner. I backed them +4 at Clemson. They won outright. I think that was 2 Saturdays ago. So Yale is the Uno ATS teams, 12-2 against the spread so far this year. Then you've got Oral Roberts, 11-2. And look, I think I did this Wednesday. So if some of these teams played yesterday and won or lost, and I'm off by 1 game on the record, forgive me. Okay, Oral Roberts, 11-2. Abilene Christian, 11-2. Liberty, which was really good last year, 11-3-1 against the spread. St. Francis, PA, I did notice them looking at the box scores. They did play last night, and I don't think they covered. So maybe they've gone from 9-1-1 against the spread to 9-2-1. Tennessee State, 10-2-1. LaSalle, 10-2. They lost to my boys, the Dayton Flyers, handily last night. So LaSalle is now 10-3. Georgia State 10-2-1, and 4 teams that are 10-3 against the spread apiece. That's the Citadel, App State, Prairie View A&M, and Northern Iowa Ben Jacobson. All right, here's your fade. Sorry, excuse me. Here's your fade teams. Texas A&M. I love Buzz and all, but the Aggies are struggling. 2-9 to the number. VCU 3-10 against the spread. Bucknell 3-10 against the spread. Now Xavier's got a really good team. In fact, that's Florida's best win. But they've been, heavily favored and have not been covering. Xavier's 4-10 to the number. Grand Canyon 4-10. The defending Natty champs. UVA 3-9. Howard 4-9-1. High Point 4-9, and Iona 1-6. Seton Hall star Miles Powell returned last game. He had missed 2 games with a concussion. He dropped 27 on DePaul. There's another team that's much improved this year. It's DePaul. Seton Hall won 74-66, so he's back. And I think they play Georgetown tonight. I took Ohio State tonight, -7 at home to Wisconsin. And I took the under 144 for Rutgers and Nebraska ball. All right. Excuse me. Um, over under wise, the under 11-1 overall for Missouri. The Tigers are sixth in the nation in scoring defense, giving up only 55.7 points per game. They're also sixth in the nation defending the 3-point line, 26%. Opponents are shooting. Mizzou is 8-4 both straight up and against the spread. They are at Rupp against the Cats tomorrow. Junior forward Jeremiah Tillman is questionable due to a foot injury. He's averaging 9.2 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 1.4 block shots per game. So he's their rim protector. He would be sorely missed. Musselman, Arkansas, Woo Pig. The under is 10-2 overall for the Razorbacks. They are, gosh, excuse me. They're 11-1 straight up, 7-5 against the spread. They went into Assembly Hall and beat Indiana 71-64 on December 29th. And they open SEC play tomorrow at home against, you guessed it, the A&M Aggies. So, well, I mentioned A&M being 2-9 against the spread. A&M also has a 9-2 ledger toward the under. So 9-2 combined with Arkansas's 10-2, that's 19-4. So maybe an underlook, but the odds makers may have it super adjusted. So then in that case, not necessarily. So, all right, the best over teams out there: Gonzaga 12-3, Delaware 11-4, Wright State 11-4, Green Bay 11-4, Delaware State 11-3, San Fran 11-3-1. I think that game went under last night with the Gales, Randy Bennett and company. So that would be 11-4-1 if I'm accurate on that. I believe I am. McNeese State 10-2 and Georgia State 10-3. Okay. Some bad news for St. Mary's, but it was before last night's game. 6'10", 240-pound center Matthias Tass tore his ACL last week, out for the year. He was averaging 6.6 points, 3.6 boards, 1.2 block shots per game for the Gales, who are now 14-2. One of their losses being to Dayton on a neutral court in Chicago. New Year's Eve, congrats to former Florida assistant Robert McCullum, the head coach at FAMU Rattlers. They went up to Ames and they beat Iowa State 70-68 as a 25.5-point underdog. It was the fourth upset of 25 points or more in college basketball so far this year. So let's name the other ones. Evansville at Kentucky, Stephen F. Austin at Duke. What would the other one be? I'm shooting a blank. I don't know. But the point is, it's wide open this year. In fact, I think Dayton's going to win it all. And this is our first college basketball video, but I have been saying that, and we're going to start having a lot more of these videos. So I hope you tune in, and I hope I have this up where you can get the under on the Nebraska-Rutgers game tonight. Ohio State game is gone. I don't have – actually, what are we at? We're at 14 minutes. Yeah, let me briefly look at the lines for tomorrow. I can share a few with you and maybe have an opinion or two. Let's see. Come on. Oh, and obviously it's kind of old news at this point, but since we haven't done a video, Greg Anthony's son, Cole Anthony, he's going to miss a couple more weeks. He went down a couple weeks ago as a 4 to 6 week injury. That's why North Carolina's been struggling so bad. Excuse me. No way, are the lines not out yet? Okay, looks like they're not from most of the Vegas books. Weird. Okay, the Missouri total 125.5 at Kentucky tomorrow. It's pretty low. Oh yeah, and Bohannon's out for the year for Iowa. And you go to our NCAA basketball arena at Major Wager. I wrote a story about that when that happened a week and a half ago. Another team that's good under the radar team to keep an eye out for is East Tennessee State. Let's see. I want to see the Gator line. It looks like the Gators are -7.5 to Bama. Bama might be a look there. What other games do we have of significance? Ole Miss at Wichita State tomorrow. Not getting into SEC play yet. Shockers are 8. Not a way to go out there and schedule. Rebels. There you go. Villanova at Marquette. Marquette's -2. That's a heck of a game. That's 2 p.m. Eastern. Duke at Miami tomorrow night. Duke is 9. Harvard is 6 to UC Irvine. We'll see if Bryce Aiken is able to go. Louisville is 6 to the semis. DePaul's -3 to Providence. Oh, wow. Georgia's at Memphis and catching 9 tomorrow. Edwards and Company. Great last name. Right. Okay. That's going to wrap it up. College hoops. We're going to be talking a lot more. We're into January now. Happy New Year. Thanks for listening. Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. Over and out.